Register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament, the TalkSport English Premier League Predictor Game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Everton from the Etihad. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Sunderland and Aberdeen goalkeeper, David Priest. This is Premier League Live. Well, it's been a while, hasn't it, since Manchester City started a Premier League weekend off the top of the table. Their defeat at Chelsea was a wake-up call to anybody who felt Pep Guardiola's side could go the whole season unbeaten. Guardiola himself was visibly rattled after the game at Stamford Bridge. We'll be hoping his team can rediscover their composure this afternoon. Everton have a very decent record at the Etihad, and there is an air of confidence from their fans that Marco Silva's men can put another dent in City's bid to retain their title. The team news for both sides makes interesting reading. Manchester City leave the fit again Sergio Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne, along with Raheem Sterling on the bench. They start with Ederson in goal, Walker, Otamendi, Laporte and Delph in defence. A midfield trio of Gundogan, Fernandinho and Silva. Bernardo Silva, that is, with Sane and Mahrez either the side of Gabriel Jesus up front. A change of formation for Everton. Pickford is the goalkeeper. A new look back three of Zuma, Keane and Mina. Coleman and Digne are the wing-backs. Bernard, Sigurdsson, Gomez and Richarlison in midfield, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin 1 goal in his last 11 outings, leading the line up front. Well, Manchester City are about to kick off another action-packed weekend in the Premier League. City in their sky blue jerseys, white shorts and darker blue socks are going to shoot from right to left in this first half. And David Priest, what do Everton need to do to make it difficult for the champions?
They need to make sure that they press high. They need to make sure that Manchester City don't have easy possession of the ball. They're going to have possession of the ball anyway. We know that. They're going to enjoy passing the ball around, but Everton needs to make sure that it's an uncomfortable afternoon for them. And looking at it can be sort of a 5-2-3-1, or it can be 3-4-3. And if it is 3-4-3, then they can press high and they can get further up the pitch. But just the way it looks now, they've dropped off a little bit, and it looks like it's going to be an easy day of possession at the back, certainly for Manchester City.
Yeah, Everton with their dark blue shirts and shorts, white socks, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. Craig Pawson is the referee. Manchester City dominating possession in the early exchanges. They've given it away though to Bernard. Couldn't keep it on the halfway line. One back by the hard-working Jesus. And now Kyle Walker in the bright yellow footwear plays it back to Otamendi inside his own half. Manchester City against Everton here on Premier League Live. Ball clipped forward by Manchester City. Bernard Silva comes out to the right-hand side. Mahrez back into midfield. Fernandinho, Walker's well forward. Just trying to slide it through there to Gundogan. Intercepted by Zuma. And then knocked upfield by Seamus Coleman, the right back for Everton. They just can't get the ball, David.
No, and we can see that nice little bit of interplay by Bernardo Silva and Riyad Mahrez. Those two becoming a real sort of stable pairing in this lineup, simply because they work so hard together. They interact, they interchange their positions, and they're getting great joy down that side. And from the first 70 seconds, there's a chance on the edge of the box for City, and just blocked by Zuma.
Everton without a win in their last 9 visits to Manchester. Only one of their last 16 in this city. They're in danger of playing their way into trouble on the edge of their own penalty area. Michael Keane in the end gets it clear. Digne infield for Sigurdsson coming halfway inside his own half, and again Manchester City have won it straight back with Mahrez. Here he is down the right, level with the penalty area. Bernardo Silva ahead of him. The pass was overhit, and it will be a goal kick for Everton, a chance to relieve some of this early pressure.
Yeah, it is, and you can see straight away the difference between these two sides. Everton just dropping off, letting the ball come easily into their own half. As soon as Manchester City lose that ball around the Everton's box, they're there, they're winning it back, they're back on the offensive again.
Long goal kick taken by Pickford, headed away by Otamendi, collected just on the edge of the centre circle by Sigurdsson, who was having his shirt tucked by Fernandinho. He's put it forward to Calvert-Lewin inside the area, and that's a super save by Ederson. First real chance of the match for Everton, or the offside flag was up anyway. Ederson didn't know that, and as a former goalkeeper, David, you would be full of admiration for the stop.
Well, that's it. It means the long ball by Pickford, getting pushed up the pitch.
He's level, by the way.
Yeah, Gylfi Sigurdsson just picks up the ball sort of 35 yards from goals, slip the ball through to Calvert-Lewin, and what makes the save so brilliant, even though it's been given offside, what makes the save so brilliant is that it comes through Kyle Walker's legs, he sees it late, and Ederson gets down, gets fingertips on it. Brilliant save by him.
I just don't understand how the assistant on the far side is flagged for offside there. He's dead in line. He must have been able to see that Kyle Walker was playing Calvert-Lewin onside.
There didn't seem to be any body part where there's an arm or anything in front of the last line defence there, so it was a strange decision, and a lucky escape for Manchester City, really.
Pep Guardiola in his Manchester City beanie hat has come out to the edge of his technical area. They're attacking again here with Jesus inside the box. He was offside, and it will be a free kick for Everton. The flag went up very late.
Yeah, very good defensive work from Everton there. The two full-backs got caught pushing on, ball played in behind for Gabriel Jesus, but Kurt Zouma and Michael Keane just holding a tight line, just making sure he was just a yard offside.
5 minutes play, Manchester City 0, Everton 0. This is the 171st meeting between the two clubs. Pretty even so far. 64 Manchester City wins, 62 for Everton, and 44 draws. City, though, are unbeaten in the last 7 Premier League meetings between the two clubs. You have to go back to December 2010, when goals from Tim Cahill and Leighton Baines gave Everton a 2-1 victory in an ill-tempered game actually. Kolo Touré and Victor Anichebe both sent off in the second half of that one.
But since Manchester City moved to the Etihad, Everton are the side who have avoided defeat the most. In 60% of the games they've avoided defeat, so history's with them here.
Manchester City continuing to dictate possession. Gundogan into the feet of Gabriel Jesus, 10 yards outside the Everton area. Fernandinho tried to guide it forward for Bernardo Silva, headed away by the tall and dominant Mina. Kyle Walker now goes all the way back to Ederson, the goalkeeper. Ederson calmly plays it out to Fernandinho on the edge of the 18-yard box. Now Bernardo Silva facing his own goal, so switches play out to the left, and Fabian Delph, the unsung hero really of this Manchester City side. Here's Fernandinho again. Fabian Delph actually made his Manchester City debut against Everton a couple of years ago. Here is Mahrez. Infield for Fernandinho, just inside the Everton half. Jesus with his back to goal, drags Keane out of position, then managed to feed it out to Mahrez on the right. Mahrez will always come inside his left foot, but that cross is going to be too close to Pickford. And an easy catch in the end by the Everton goalkeeper.
Yeah, good communication by Jordan Pickford, just made sure that his defenders knew that he was coming for the ball. But again, you see the interchange between Riyad Mahrez and Bernardo Silva. You often find that Bernardo Silva finds himself beyond Riyad Mahrez.
Mahrez just stopped in his tracks on the edge of the Everton penalty area. Still he got the ball back though with Walker, with those holes cut into his socks. Almost looks like he's wearing a pair of fishnet tights at times. Here is Michael Keane now, 15 yards inside his half of the field, tries to roll it out to Coleman, and that was well played by Dominic Calvert-Lewin to dispossess Laporte over on the touchline, but again Manchester City win it back rapidly, and now they're looking at counter-attack. Gundogan trying to use the pace of Sane getting away from Gomez into the area. Gomez did really well to get back at him, and then it's hacked away by Zuma. Anywhere will do.
Did his turn on his right side, inside on Andres Gomez. He had him squared up, he had him where he wanted to, just a little bit of a miscontrol, just took it away from him, and Everton were able to get back possession, but Man City back the ball now.
It's not dissimilar to the way they started the game actually at Stamford Bridge. They had much the better of the first half, Manchester City, but couldn't turn that territorial advantage into goals, and then Chelsea really hit them with a couple of sucker punches.
Well, that's this. Pep Guardiola's talking up the value of having Gabriel Jesus in the side. He is hard working. When they want to get the ball back, when they lose possession, he's there. He's always trying to get the ball back in possession for Manchester City, but they're missing that cutting edge. They're missing just that final missing link, and Sergio Aguero off the bench today. That's what Everton don't want to see. They don't want to see him come on because they know that's trouble.
He's had the best scoring record actually, Aguero, against Everton. He's only scored once in his last 7 appearances against the Toffees. By his extraordinary high standards, that almost constitutes a drought. Here is Bernard now at the other end for Everton, looking for the cross into the area. Cleared only as far as Coleman. He's going to get it back into the 18-yard box here. Stabbed away by Delph. Bernard picks it up, but showed too much of it to Bernardo Silva. And Gundogan then drives forward towards the halfway line for Manchester City. Here's Jesus on the left. Gundogan has continued his run ahead of it. Only Mahrez at the moment inside the penalty area. Jesus bursting forward to get in support as well. Here's Sane, 10 yards outside the box, goes back towards Fernandinho in the heart of that Manchester City midfield. Then Fernandinho's pass out to Gundogan is poor, and it will be an Everton throw in driving rain in Manchester.
Yeah, unlikely error from Fernandinho there, just playing too much pace on the ball and going off the 3, but it's almost a bit of a slugfest at the moment. Everton are getting their chance to get up the field, they're all getting around Manchester City's box, but like Marco Silva said in his pre-match interviews, when they get there, they have to make it count against sides like Manchester City, because it's only a matter of time before they get their clear-cut chances themselves.
Yeah, 9 minutes played. Manchester City nil, Everton nil. Just the one chance so far. Ederson denying Calvert-Lewin, who's actually flagged wrongly offside. Here is Walker, deep inside Everton territory. Mahrez goes back to the halfway line, and Otamendi, Nicolas Otamendi, making his 150th appearance for Manchester City this afternoon. Question marks, I remember, about Otamendi's defensive capabilities early in his City career, but has established himself now in the Premier League under the tutelage of Pep Guardiola.
This is one of the things you see at City. It's they don't often make mistakes in the transfer market, and if they do, players do have a bad start.
Good turn by Jesus on the edge of the area. Zuma just about managed to get his body in the way.
Yeah, good defending by Zuma there.
Just a couple of times Bernard has winked out challenges for me. He did it again there, and allows Manchester City to come forward. Needs to hold the ball up better, the Brazilian, when it comes to him on that left wing position, right wing position. Lovely turn, wasn't it, by Gabriel Jesus, but excellent defending by Zuma.
And that's the beauty of having 3 central defenders. There are always an extra man there to rescue the other 2 if Jesus gets by them.
11 play. Still we await the first goal of the afternoon. Digne, who's already established himself as a bit of a cult hero at Goodison Park, not just because of that blockbusting free kick against Watford to salvage a draw, but some commanding performances from the Frenchman, signed from Barcelona in the summer. Here he is jumping with Kyle Walker, beaten in the air on this occasion though. Mahrez has got Jesus to aim at inside the penalty area. Opts to come out to the right hand side instead and wins a throw. Mahrez leaves that throw for Kyle Walker down this near right touchline as we look. Manchester City nil, Everton nil. There was a foul there on Fernandinho by Gomez. The free kick taken quickly by Bernardo Silva. Laporte slowly trots forward over the halfway line and then knocks it forward for Gundogan, now Delph into Fernandinho and back to Otamendi inside the centre circle. Good shape this by Everton, trying to make Manchester City pick their way through, and they've gone back again inside their own half to Laporte. Strokes it out to the left hand side and Delph. Now Gundogan in the red boots. Again, no real option for Gundogan to play the ball forward. Fernandinho does launch it long. Bernardo Silva not quite able to keep the ball in play. It will be a goal kick for Everton. That was good organisation from the Toffees, David.
That's exactly what they're going to do. It's going to take a lot of concentration, a lot of focus to keep that discipline, keep that shape, and just every time the ball goes out to a Manchester City player, one player comes out to close them down, the rest sitting behind them and just try and force them back and force them into those long balls that Fernandinho's just tried to do.
Kick for the goalkeeper, all in green. Clears it left-footed into the Manchester sky. Walker wins it back on the halfway line for Manchester City, and it's given away by Fernandinho. Calvert-Lewin into the feet of Sigurdsson, who quickly switches play out to the right, and Coleman. He's got Richarlison ahead of him now. Richarlison is going to try and take on Fabian Delph. Comes inside onto his left foot from the right wing position. Now Sigurdsson again over on the right touchline. That was a poor cross, but cleared only as far as Richarlison. It's a looping one up in the air, which Digne has to control on the left corner of the penalty area, and then goes back for Mina. Good spell of possession this from Everton. Gomez into the feet of Sigurdsson, just on the edge of the centre circle. Coleman in acres of space down the right. Sane didn't track him. Coleman's going to try and whip the cross in, right-footed, blocked by Delph, and the corner flag knocks the ball out of play for an Everton throw over on the right hand side with Coleman, the captain. Short to Richarlison, just guides it back to Coleman. Show too much of that to Sane. Everton trying to box Manchester City in here, but Sane got good distance on the clearance, which goes out of play almost on the halfway line for an Everton throw. 70% possession for Manchester City.
Well, that's what you expect from Manchester City side. Well, Everton need to just get used to the ball, enjoy having the ball a little bit. But if they can, they try and get that ball forward as quickly as possible. Try and hit Manchester City before they can get bodies behind the ball.
Coleman with the throw. It's launched forward for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, headed clear by Otamendi. Sigurdsson brings it down. Now Mina on the edge of the centre circle, those salmon boots. Digne back to Mina, the Colombian, on the halfway line for Everton. Tries to play it over the top of the Manchester City defence. Digne's forced a mistake from Walker inside the box. He's got away from Walker. He's crossed towards the far post, and Richarlison puts the volley over the crossbar when he really ought to have at least tested the goalkeeper. Big chance for Everton.
Those are the chances Marco Silva was on about. Those are the chances that they need to take if they're going to get anything from this game. Great work from Lucas Digne. Stood the ball up the back post, and I'm sure that Richarlison would have been far better going that with his head, getting that on target. It was a little bit too high for a side volley. And he knows that was a huge chance for him.
Well, they carved open there, Manchester City, and Richarlison, who's been in such a rich vein of goal-scoring form of late, really could have given Everton a shock lead here. Will that be the rocket that Manchester City need? Here is Otamendi. The Everton fans who found their voice inside the Etihad. Samuel has tweeted at TalkSport Live, said, I thought Everton gave Guardiola his worst defeat in January 17 by beating Man City 4-0. You are correct. That last win in 2010 was their last win at the Etihad. Shot comes in from distance from Fabian Delph, but straight into the arms of Jordan Pickford, who doesn't have too much to do so far. That's an excellent ball outfield. He's picked out Bernardo Silva just on the edge of the penalty area. Digne, another looping cross towards the far post, just over the head of Coleman, and he can't keep it in play. Encouraging last couple of minutes though for Everton.
Very encouraging. That's exactly what they've got to do. Even from the deep position, like Jordan Pickford when he's holding the ball, sees Bernard out on the left side volleys it out to him. Great distribution, and it looks like they try to take advantage of the lack of height in Fabian Delph's left back area. Stand the ball at that back post again, but just over Seamus Coleman's head. He just need to hold his run a little bit so he can attack the ball more.
17 minutes played. Manchester City 0, Everton 0. It's Everton who've had the best chance so far with a volley that Richarlison couldn't keep on target. Here's Walker for Manchester City. They'll try and take on Bernard. It's been a good battle between those two, but Walker overpowers the Brazilian and then tried to slide it in between the Everton back three for Jesus, but it was intercepted by Michael Keane. Gomez forward for Richarlison. Now Coleman in the right wing position. Back to Andre Gomez, the Barcelona loanee. Actually took 3 players from Barcelona over the summer at Everton. Gomez, Digne and Yerry Mina, of course. Here is Mina, forward for Digne, the 2 Nou Camp refugees. Such a huge frame, Yerry Mina. Got size 15 boots as well. One of those boots has just played it straight to Fabian Delph from the Manchester City left-back position. 18 gone, 0-0 on Premier League Live. At TalkSport Live is the Twitter address. Do get in touch. David, listening in Nigeria, says, as a Liverpool fan, I'm hoping our City rivals get a decent result at the Etihad. I'm sure you won't be walking alone in that view this afternoon. Remember, Liverpool in action tomorrow in the big game of the weekend. They take on Manchester United, arguably the biggest game in all of English football. It's at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Here's Mahrez. Oh, he's been brought down by Digne. The challenge was just outside the penalty area. It's going to be a yellow card for Lucas Digne. And a free kick right on the edge of the box. Just allowed Mahrez to ghost in on the wrong side, the full-back, and they had no option really but to bring him down.
No, it's exactly one of those long balls that Fernandinho's been trying to place, but that's about the third one he's played already this game so far. And I think that because Mahrez has went across with his left foot, Digne hasn't been able to read the touch. There's nothing he can do but bring him down.
Free kick here, 5 yards in from the touchline. A yard outside the penalty area. A chance for the likes of Otamendi and Laporte to come forward from the back. Mahrez and Gundogan are the 2 Manchester City players stood over the ball. Kyle Walker is also amongst a cluster of sky blue shirts in the area. Mahrez shoots from the edge of the box. It's charged down by Bernard, then fired over by Delph. Was always rising. It was a great strike from Fabian Delph from the edge of the box.
You see Gundogan and Mahrez just have a little conversation. They've obviously improvised a little bit, just took a short one to open the angle up for Mahrez to shoot left foot. It's blocked. You're right, Fabian Delph come from 25 yards out. It was a great strike to keep it low, but just too far above the bar. Good
long goal kick from Pickford, but he's found his opposite number, Edison, on this occasion. Does have terrific distribution, the England number 1. Manchester City in possession with Laporte inside their own half of the field. They're actually 5 points worse off City than they were at this stage last season, when they led second place Manchester United by 11 points. I think really that's a reflection of how much many of the teams now on the top end of the table have improved. Particularly Liverpool, of course, who began the weekend in first place. Here's a chance for Manchester City. Oh, brilliant save, Pickford. Not sure Gabriel Jesus moved too much about it when the cross came his way. Just helped it goalwards. And Pickford had to be on his toes. In fact, it was Michael Keane who prodded it back towards his own goal. And that's a fabulous save down low to his left by Pickford. Corner for Manchester City. Mahrez will whip it in. Powerful header away by Richarlison. Walker brings it down the chest. Delph back into the area. Digne's going to have to be aware here, because once again Mahrez was in behind him, and Digne chested out for a goal, for a corner.
Yeah, safety first by Lucas Digne there. He had nothing else to do but chest it out. But brilliant save by Jordan Pickford, low to his left, because he wouldn't have been expecting that. You don't don't expect your own defenders to put the ball towards you. But it was a great credit to Gabriel Jesus, putting defenders under pressure. But Pickford should be having a word with his defenders, not attacking the ball properly.
Gundogan is going to take the corner this time, right-footed delivery. Laporte was climbing. Can only head the ball over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick for Everton. We're watching it from a keeper's view. There's Michael Keane. What was he thinking as he just poked it towards his own bottom corner?
Well, what it was just a case of panicking that Michael Keane had to do something to rectify the situation. Yerry Mina can see the ball all the way. He doesn't attack it. He lets the ball drop in the 6-yard box.
That's a poor goal kick by Pickford on this occasion, and Gabriel Jesus has punished him with a blow to give Manchester City the lead. A goal out of nowhere, really, from their own goal kick. Everton have absolutely shot themselves in the foot, and Gabriel Jesus scores his second Premier League goal of the season. He played it short, Pickford to Mina, just on the edge of the area. Mina's clearance straight to Gundogan, who found Leroy Sané, and then Gabriel Jesus with a first-time shot beyond Pickford into the corner. 1-0 Manchester City.
What you don't do at the Etihad is gift Manchester City goals, and that's exactly what Everton have just done there. Yes, it was a short pass to Yerry Mina, but Yerry Mina should have just went back to Pickford. He should have just went home, then he could have cleared. Instead he's trying an intricate pass into midfield. It gets cut out, slipped down into Gabriel Jesus' path. And again, a little bit of panic there from Jordan Pickford. I think he could have held his position, and he sold himself a little bit, and Gabriel Jesus just slipped the ball by him.
Calvert-Lewin trying to get Everton back on terms straight away. His cross is cleared, and then Mahrez flicks it forward. Suddenly Manchester City with confidence flowing through their veins. Well, one back by Gomez though, high upfield, and he's got Richarlison and Akers to his right. Should have played him in. Goes for goal, and it's blocked by Laporte. And that bad decision that Mina made at one end has been replicated by Gomez at the other. They're the things you need to get right away from home against the champions of the Premier League.
Exactly, and especially when you're in your defensive third, you cannot give the ball away there, not to Manchester City, because they will punish you.
I don't understand why Pickford went short in the first place when he spent the previous 22 minutes launching it long upfield and setting Everton on the attack.
But that might be one of the tactics, to try and lengthen the pitch and try to create a bit more space, to go longer early on in the game, so then you can get short and then start to play a little bit from through the departments from the back. But yes, possibly it wasn't a great decision to go to Yerry Mina, but at the same time, if he's in trouble, just go back to your goalkeeper, and then you can sort it out from there. He can go longer and you can discuss things later.
24 minutes play. Manchester City 1, Everton 0. Gabriel Jesus, who scored for City in a 3-1 win at Goodison Park back in March, has repeated the trick to give Pep Guardiola's side the lead. And here is Laporte trotting forward, out to Sané, hugging that left touchline. Delph back to Otamendi inside the centre circle. Now Walker in the right back position plays it forward into the feet of Fernandinho. Everton just look a bit shell-shocked with the manner in which they've conceded the goal. If you have a goal kick here, I don't think Pickford is going to be going short this time.
What they don't need to do is change their approach. Their approach is working well at the moment. They're restricting the likes of Fernandinho to go longer when he doesn't really want to. They look rather fine feet. And there's been 4 or 5 times now they've played long balls and it's gone for a goal kick. So stick to the plan now. Don't try and sort of change your mentality. Stick to the plan.
Pickford does go long. Calvert-Lewin can't hold it up. Is there a push in the back by Gomez? Referee had a good view of it and allows play to continue. Ball now with Digne on the halfway line. Back to Mina. Just a really miscued ball upfield from Yerry Mina that put Everton right on the back foot. But credit to Manchester City for how ruthlessly they exploited the mistake. 3 passes and it was in the back of the net.
We know how good Manchester City are hunting the ball back. They don't need to be given the opportunity. As soon as they get the opportunity, they smell blood, they're straight under the opposition.
Edison drives the ball out to the left, and Delph is going to roam forward here for Manchester City. Sané back for Aymeric Laporte inside his own half. Now Otamendi. Manchester City 1, Everton 0. You're listening to Premier League Live. Don't forget, plenty more live football coming your way throughout the day. When we're finished here, Wembley will be our destination for for Tottenham against Burnley. And then later at 5:30, a London derby from the Cottage. Fulham taking on West Ham. Big game down at the bottom of the Premier League for Fulham. Just need to stop conceding goals. Everton have conceded one here, and Manchester City have dominated the ball since. Here's Jesus, the goal scorer, over on the left-hand side. Forced to play it out off for Richarlison. Will be a throw. Manchester Guardiola would have wanted a reaction, David, to that defeat against Chelsea. Has he got one so far?
I think he has. He'd be more than happy with the way things go at the moment. The possession they're having, they're pulling Everton around the pitch, they're making them expend energy. Sooner or later their concentration will lapse again, and that's when they can strike. They'll be happy to do that. But Pep Guardiola, he's at pains to make sure that everyone knew that their secret of the success last season was, if they did drop points, that they did drop more points in the next game, and that's what they need to do to keep up this title charge again.
You have to go back 2 years to December 2016 for the last time Manchester City lost back-to-back games in the Premier League. In some ways, the defeat against Chelsea probably made the task for Marco Silva and his men even more difficult. And they've made it hard for themselves with a mistake from Yerry Mina, which has gifted the champions the league. Finished coolly by Gabriel Jesus. And here's Sane in behind, and he's going to get the chance to pull it back, as he just rolled away at the last moment. It will be a goal kick. Suddenly Manchester City are finding it easy to get in behind this Everton defence.
Yeah. I mean, the way things are going now, you think that Manchester City would prefer the pitch to just be 5 yards longer. Every ball that's going behind is just being a little bit too far forward. Maybe it's the rain on the pitch, the ball just skidding away from the City players a little bit more.
Oh, and another mistake. Pickford has played it straight to Sane on the edge of the area. This time Mina comes to his goalkeeper rescue and makes the clearance. Got to stop playing their way into difficulty, Everton. Richarlison trying to help it forward for Gomez. Run back by Manchester City, and it's with Otamendi now inside the centre circle. 1-0 they lead here on Premier League Live. Jesus spins and rolls the ball out to Fabian Delph in the left wing position, crosses towards Sane. Kurt Zouma stretching, he turns the ball behind for a goal kick. He needed to be at full stretch there, the Chelsea loanee.
It's a good point made earlier about the passing off of the back and the goal kicks. They put themselves under needless pressure, especially in a phase when City are on top and they don't have to do a lot of work trying to get the ball back. They need to relieve that pressure a little bit. That means go longer.
Third Manchester City corner, punched away Superman style by Pickford at the near post. Gundogan's going to put it back into the mixer though. It's a lovely cross, and it's a free header for Paul that he can't get on target.
Yeah, Jordan Pickford did really well coming that initial corner, comes out two-fisted punch away, doesn't get it away out of danger, they have to regroup. It's a hell of a ball back in by Bernardo Silva, just evades everybody, and Heinrich Laporte just couldn't get it on target. Good pressure by Michael Keane to put him off though, even though he couldn't win the ball. He made it difficult for Laporte.
An average day half an hour mark. Manchester City leading Everton by goal to 0. As Carl Walker's found Jesus in space inside the centre circle. Jesus out to Sane. Sane into the area. Keane just flicked out a leg, and it's out of play now for a Manchester City throw in front of the travelling Everton fans.
This is what Everton don't want. They don't want this amount of pressure, these waves of attack. It becomes like a training session for Manchester City, and then it becomes a matter of time before they do break through again.
Bernardo Silva, dispossessed this time by Digne on the edge of the Everton area. Digne forward to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Marco Silva is raging on the touchline. Is he raging with his players or the referee?
Yeah,
I think the referee for giving Manchester City a throw.
Yeah, I thought he thought it was their ball, but it's I think he's got nothing in his hands trying to organise his team without getting involved with any of the officials.
Well, Manchester City have won all 13 games this season when they've scored the first goal by an aggregate score of 44-6. Can Everton arrest that record? They're the only team, Manchester City, in the entire league yet to lose any points from a winning position. And they're leading 1-0 here. The goal scored by Gabriel Jesus in the 22nd minute. For those of you just tuning in, Calvert-Lewin coming very deep to pick up possession for Everton. He's got Bernard trying to get away from Bernardo Silva. Just had his heels clipped. It will be a free kick for Everton, 10 yards inside the Manchester City half. With 13 first half minutes remaining.
That's the problem Everton have got now when Calvert-Lewin's coming that deep and winning the ball. He's doing a good job, he's holding it up, he pops it off to Bernard. They're still 40-50 yards from goal. There's a lot of work to do, and Manchester City all crowd round Bernard there. It probably was a foul crowd out of it, but it makes sure that it stops the attack at source.
It's one of those tactical fouls that Gary Neville was talking about a few weeks ago, which riled Pep Guardiola up the wrong way. Quite good at that, Gary Neville, isn't he? Annoying people. The free kick is headed away by Manchester City, so it will be a throw-in for Everton. Seamus Coleman will take down by the corner flag.
Of course, Gary Neville didn't make any tactical fouls in his career. He wasn't that type of player.
Absolutely. Coleman taking a long time over the throw. Manchester City fans getting a bit agitated down by that corner flag. Richarlison back to Coleman, lovely ball. Chance for Coleman's across here. Punched away by Ederson. Brought down by Richarlison on the chest, but hoisted clear in the end by Gundogan. And here's Bernardo Silva, such a lovely player to watch on the ball, but he's been dispossessed by Keane. And then the referee's given a free kick, I think, for a foul by Bernard.
Yeah, just a similar foul to the one that City made on Bernard just moments earlier, but it was a great overlapping run by Seamus Coleman just early on there, and there was nobody really in the 6-yard box, or no target to hit, so you just try to fizz it across there, hoping that it hit somebody, hoping somebody would turn the ball into the one net, but good play by Ederson, punching the ball clear out of danger.
Manchester City 1, Everton 0. Don't forget, the best way to look ahead to a Premier League weekend is by subscribing to TalkSport's Premier League Preview Show podcast. That's available every Thursday. Tom Rennie and his assorted cast of former Premier League players looking ahead to all the big games. Here is Leroy Sané for Manchester City. Cross cleared by Sigurdsson. Then Richarlison flicks it over the head of Fabian Delph, but only to Gundogan. Quietly effective, the German, in that central midfield role. Remember, Manchester City opting to leave Aguero, De Bruyne, Sterling and Stones on their bench this afternoon. It's a show of just how strong this squad that Pep Guardiola has assembled.
Well, it just shows that Everton aren't going to get any relief later on in the game when they do start making changes, because there's an argument made that they could be making the side stronger, making substitutions.
Zuma in possession for Everton inside his own half. It's forward for Calvert-Lewin, who holds it up well but can't quite guide the ball into the stride of Richarlison. It's a thankless task, really, isn't it, for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, ploughing that lone far up front. Knows he's not going to see much of the ball. Manchester City dominating possession as we would have expected. I suppose as long as it's only 1-0, Marco Silva will be confident his side can nick something on the counter-attack.
Especially the way they've been playing lately as well. They've been coming back late in games, and it's testament to the way he's got them playing and the resilience he's put into this side.
Big games always come thick and fast this time of year, but it's a pretty pleasing fixture list for Manchester City between now and the turn of the year. They go to Leicester in the quarter-finals of the EFL Cup on Tuesday night. Crystal Palace at home is their next Premier League fixture. Leicester away, Southampton away, before they take on Liverpool in the first game of 2019. Not much to scare them between now and then, you fancy. Here is Sané in the area. Gets his shot away. It's blocked by Zuma for a corner. It's been a difficult period for Leroy Sané. Left out of the German World Cup squad, didn't start the season in favour here either, but he has scored 7 goals in his last 9 starts. And of course he teed up the opener for Gabriel Jesus to give Manchester City the lead this afternoon, and he's going to take the corner here. Sané down the left hand side, Otamendi is forward, Mina flicks it clear, picked up by Mahrez with a left-footed delivery, good header away by Keane. Now to play for Manchester City's 5th corner of these opening 37 minutes.
Yeah, Manchester City, when they get a corner situation, they're always going to pick up the second ball. Every Everton player in that Everton box, leaving Kyle Walker, Riyad Mahrez on the edge of the box to pick up any second pieces. And then you see Mahrez there, great delivery at the box, danger, good header out by Keane.
And Everton have got virtually everybody back inside their own penalty area to defend this corner. Gundogan will take from the right this time as the rain continues to pour in the Etihad. Gundogan with the corner, headed away at the near post by Richarlison. He took a whack of the head for his trouble. He's gone down inside the box, and the referee Craig Pawson with no choice but to stop play.
Yeah, a few groans from the Manchester City fans and from the Manchester City players, but the referee has to take precautions there when there's a headlock.
Manchester City, the only team in the top 4 tiers of English football with a 100% home record this season. 8 games played, 8 wins, 30 goals scored, 5 against. And the only teams who could match that 100% record in Europe's top 5 leagues are Borussia Mönchengladbach over in Germany and Paris Saint-Germain in France. City have won 24 of their last 26 home matches. They're going back to September of last year, and they're winning again here 1-0, courtesy of Gabriel Jesus' goal on 22 minutes. Who needs Aguero? Jesus will be thinking. Here's Delph, deep inside his own half. He was shoved to the ground by Coleman. Cheap free kick to concede because he was going nowhere.
It's good to see, though, that longer ball by Jordan Pickford played diagonal from left to right out to Richarlison. It's good to see that Everton pressing up, in the second balls. Delph got hold of the ball again, but they pressed right up against them. Okay, they give the foul away, but it's a good sign of intent from Everton, I think.
Yeah, 6 minutes to go until half time. We'll be hearing from Mauricio Pochettino and Sean Dyche during the interval, ahead of our 3 o'clock commentary from Wembley. Tottenham against Burnley. Burnley actually the favourites now for relegation, would you believe it, even though they're not currently in the bottom 3. A difficult season for the Clarets so far. Throw in for Manchester City down by the right corner flag, taken by Bernardo Silva. Walker trying to turn away from Bernard, and then Bernardo Silva forward looking for Mahrez, good defended by Digne. He's out of play for another Manchester City throw.
Yeah, you're right, it's good covering by Digne there. Riyad Mahrez looking to get beyond him with a running behind, but just gets his body across, make sure you can't get in front of him, puts a ball out for through and great defending.
Walker with a throw, held up by Mahrez, and then plays it out off the heels of Bernard. Third throw down by the corner flag in quick succession for Manchester City, laid off by the goal scorer Jesus, and now with Aymeric Laporte inside the centre circle, back out to Bernardo Silva. First time pass into Fernandinho, who gave it away and then won it straight back. Here is Jesus turning on the edge of the area into Gundogan. Gundogan with a shot, half cleared by Zuma. Mahrez, brilliant save, Pickford to keep his team in the game. 2-0 and it would have been all over. Still Manchester City coming forward, but well won back by Bernard in the left back position, then cleared upfield by Mina. What a terrific stop again from Pickford.
Yeah, great reaction to his right there when it just sat really nicely for Riyad Mahrez to come on his favourite left foot. It's only about a foot off the floor, volleyed it to Pickford's right, and he gets 2 hands, strong hands out to it. Just parries it back into the danger area, but it's cleared.
8-2 to Manchester City in terms of the goal attempts. Maybe Everton can change that with Gomez looking for Richarlison, just overhit the pass with the outside of the foot, and Fabian Delph able to play it back towards Laporte on the edge of the Manchester City 18-yard box. Never panic, do they? Manchester City just literally playing their way out here, but then they gave it away. Here is Calvert-Lewin. Header clear by Otamendi. Roll back to Gundogan by Jesus. And then Laporte out to Delph in the left back position with 4 first half minutes remaining. City lead 1-0 here on Premier League Live. And Otamendi's got a bit of room to run into inside his own half. Makes his way up towards the halfway mark, and he's found Mahrez. Jesus looking for a pass to his left. He comes out to the right instead. And Bernardo Silva taking on Digne, who knows he can't dive in, having already been booked in this game. Fernandinho then out to Delph over on the left touchline. Gundogan turns away from Gylfi Sigurdsson and then knocks it back into the feet of Fernandinho. Mahrez forward to Bernardo Silva. Lovely interplay between those two. Mahrez with some room now on the edge of the area. Into the feet of Jesus. He's onside! He's not, because the flag went up very late. He's put the ball to the net, Gabriel Jesus, but it won't count.
Yeah. Michael Keane and Kurt Zouma have played a very good line here. When the ball's played across in behind to Gabriel Jesus, they hold that line to make sure that nothing goes beyond them. And if anything does, then they're offside.
I do feel the next goal in this game is absolutely crucial. If we watch a replay of the strong save from Pickford down to his right, Manchester City trying to thread their way through again. Pickford wins it and then launches it upfield. Great idea. Just runs off the pitch before Richarlison can get on the end of it.
It's a good idea. Like I said, when they get possession of the ball, sometimes they've got to take a gamble, try and make sure they can try and catch Manchester City out of shape. And that ball, left-footed, like I said before, left-footed out to the right-hand side. Just needed a little bit of fade on it to try and bring it back in, and it just crept out of play.
Like one of my golf shots, always going out to the right. Here is Fabian Delph on the halfway line for Manchester City, who lead 1-0. City looking to become the first club to win back-to-back Premier League titles since their neighbours Manchester United achieved the feat back in 2009. History tells us retaining the championship is almost more difficult than winning it in the first place. Here is Gomez, but I think even though they're starting the weekend in second place, most people still feel that Manchester City will go on and win the league, particularly because they've got virtually all of their difficult away games out of the way already. They've already been to Tottenham, they've already been to Liverpool, they've already been to Manchester City, they've already been to Arsenal. Only really Manchester United to come away from home in the second half of the season.
Well, that's it, and it's a similar story for Spurs actually. If you look at Spurs' next 11 games, they've only got Manchester United out of the top 6. The rest of them have looked very, very winnable games, and you just wonder if they win all of those 10, 11 of those games, you just wonder where they will end up at the end of January.
Here is Fernandinho for Manchester City inside the centre circle, inside his own half of the field, away to our left. 71% now possession for Manchester City, and they've made virtually 3 times as many passes as Everton over the course of the game so far. Here is Otamendi forward to Walker, the England international. Mahrez back to Walker. Got time to look up and assess his options before playing it back into the penalty area. And Ederson, 24 clean sheets in 54 Premier League games before today for Ederson. Is he the best goalkeeper in the division?
He's certainly putting a very good case towards that, but I think that himself and his Brazilian compatriot Alisson at Liverpool, I think the two of them at the moment, form-wise as well, they're looking the best for me.
Yeah, David De Gea, who arguably has been a long-standing Premier League number 1, just showing signs of fragility this season. And if I'd spent as much time playing behind Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, I think I'd be showing signs of fragility as well. Here's Gomez, dispossessed by Mahrez. Inside the Everton half, he's got Bernardo Silva to his right. Pass was slightly behind the Brazilian. He was offside, and it will be a free kick for Everton as we move into 1 added minute at the end of the first half. City lead 1-0.
Yeah, it's unforgivable from such a wide position. You can see right along the line. Should be cut offside there, and always say it a million times, but should have better awareness. But again, Manchester City, as soon as they lose the ball, within 3, 4, 5 seconds, they're getting the ball straight back, and they're right on top of their that Everton back 3 again.
And we'll Just about be enough time for the kick to be taken. Marco Silva looks a bit forlorn as he braves the rain, his hands in the pocket of his black raincoat. Thomas Coleman just being given a talking to here by Craig Pawson, the referee. Andre Gomez making his case as well.
I think Gomez just think he's been unfair and harshly dealt by there when the ball was won back. He thought there was a little foul, a little tuck back on him. I think his complaints to the referee a little bit too vociferous for his liking.
We've gone over the one-handed minute and we spent most of it watching Everton players bicker with the referee. Finally Pickford is going to take this free kick, and there is the half-time whistle. Well, we were all waiting to see how Manchester City would respond to their first Premier League defeat of the season. At the moment they're responding in winning fashion. The goal scored by Gabriel Jesus midway through the first half after a mistake from Mina. Half-time at the Etihad then. It is the champions Manchester City 1, Everton 0. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on TalkSport.com.
Welcome back to Premier League Live, half-time in our first commentary of the afternoon. Manchester City against Everton, and it's the champions who have their noses in front. Headed away by Otamendi, collected just on the edge of the centre circle by Sigurdsson. He was having his shirt tucked by Fernandinho. He's put it forward to Calvert-Lewin inside the area, and that's a super save by Ederson. First real chance of the match for Everton. The offside flag was up anyway. Dinya's forced a mistake from Walker inside the box. He got away from Walker. He's crossed towards the far post, and Richarlison puts the volley over the crossbar. when he really ought to have at least tested the goalkeeper. Here's a chance for Manchester City. Oh, brilliant save, Pickford. Not sure Gabriel Jesus knew too much about it when the cross came his way. Just helped it goalwards, and Pickford had to be on his toes. In fact, it was Michael Keane who prodded it back towards his own goal. That's a fabulous save down low to his left by Pickford. That's a poor goal kick by Pickford on this occasion, and Gabriel Jesus has punished him with a blow to give Manchester City the lead. A goal out of nowhere, really, from their own goal kick. Everton have absolutely shot themselves in the foot. Into Gundogan. Gundogan with a shot. Half cleared by Zuma. Mahrez, brilliant save, Pickford, to keep his team in the game. 2-0 and it would have been all over. Yeah, you just wonder how big that save from Jordan Pickford could be come the end of the match. Manchester City, in truth, though, David, have been relatively comfortable, haven't they?
They have, but on the flip side of it, I think the one positive, big positive that Marco Silva can hold on to in this hard time and impress on his players, that anything that Manchester United have created around the Everton box, it's been of Everton's own doing. And if they can cut that out, if they can be a little bit sharper and just, like I said, cut them out, they can trouble Manchester City. And that, I keep going back to Richarlison's chance early on in the game, which was a huge chance in that back post area. If he just used his head instead of literally used his head rather than try and finish with a volley, I think things could have been a little bit different. They could have had something to hang on to. But like I said, it is a positive that whatever Manchester City have created, it could have been avoided by Everton.
Let's have a look at some of the tweets that we've been receiving from listeners around the world during that. Says, nice game to start a game week. Seems City don't have a choice other than winning today. Everton shouldn't make this match a one-sided affair, predicting a 3-1 win for City. That's from Hussein, listening over in Nigeria. At TalkSport Live is the email address. Strange circumstances this weekend. United fans rooting for City to beat Everton. It should be the other way round. And then Stephen is predicting a score draw between Everton and Manchester City. Lots of Liverpool fans getting in touch as well, obviously hoping that their near neighbours can do them a favour. Liverpool in action against Manchester United tomorrow, the big game of the weekend, 4 o'clock kickoff UK time. Toby Gillis and Neil Mellor, the former Liverpool player, will be your commentary team from that one. Plenty more live football to come throughout the afternoon as well. From 3 o'clock our base will be Tottenham against Burnley. We'll also have the goals as they go in from Crystal Palace against Leicester. Palace in dire need of a victory. At Huddersfield against Newcastle, a real relegation 6-pointer at the John Smith Stadium. Watford played Cardiff, and Wolverhampton Wanderers against Bournemouth. Bournemouth just having a bit of a wobble. They've lost 4 of their last 5 matches. Let's hear from the two managers then from our main game at 3 o'clock. Spurs against Burnley, Mauricio Pochettino and Sean Dyche.
I am more motivated to play against Burnley than again the previous games, because to try to reduce the distance with Liverpool and Manchester City, because we are going to play 3 very important points: to be in Premier League in the top 4 and to be there and to keep the distance and to keep the position is for me is a massive motivation, and I think we need to feel all the same.
You know, teams have had either no wins or minimal in a long period. I think Watford are the latest. I'm not sure how many they've had, but I think they've had 1 maybe in 11 or 12 or something like that. You know, it's tough. So we get a win, and it just gives them that reminder of, you know, that winning feeling. We do go into 2 tough games now, of course. They're all tough, but particularly I think when you go away to the likes of Tottenham and Arsenal. But that bit more freedom to go and play, I think, at them sort of places.
The unmistakable tones of Mauricio Pochettino and Sean Dyche. David, do you give Burnley any hope of winning at Wembley?
Well, not if they defend like they have been recently this season. I think that's, you know, it's obvious that their game is built on a strong defence, and they were given a lot of chances away. You know, the likes of Nick Pope and Tom Heaton were performing miracles in goal whenever teams did get through. That just hasn't been happening this season, and maybe it's a little bit unfair on Joe Hart, who's trying to stabilise his career, get it back on track as well, but it just hasn't been the same defensive unit as we've seen the last couple of seasons, has it?
Expected goals is a new phenomenon. In the expected goals table, Burnley should be rock bottom. Do you hold any stock in that? The bookmakers do, because they're favourites for the draw.
like I said previously, at least likes of Fulham have got goals in them. We can see that they've got attacking options. You just see the likes of Huddersfield and Burnley, yeah, sorry, sir. Huddersfield, Burnley, they don't have that attacking intent. They're very reliant on sort of soaking up a lot of pressure and hitting teams on the break, and not really carving out a lot of chances for themselves. And when your game's so reliant on a strong defence, like Burnley have been the last couple of seasons, once that isn't perfect and things start going wrong there, then the onus is on you to try and create those chances, and they're just not doing it at the moment.
And Tottenham, they'll be on a high, of course, after that result in Barcelona that extended their stay in the Champions League.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of people that we've been talking today about, what the effect that will have on the Premier League games this weekend. But I think they'll just be coming in with lots of confidence. Maybe he's got a chance to change things around a little bit, change their personnel and just rest a few players, because I mean, it's unfortunate to say, but it is Burnley, and they're not going to be able to. They're going to have to work hard to get anything out of this game.
Burnley against Tottenham, then Tottenham against Burnley from Wembley to come at 3 o'clock UK time, after we brought you the second half of Manchester City against Everton. The champions leading by 1. Gabriel Jesus goal to 0 at half time. What will Everton muster by way of a response in the second 45? Find out very shortly. You are listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million Predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million Predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions. The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
A great week for Tottenham Hotspur, but still some way off the leading pack. Chris Perry, former Spurs defender, is with us. I didn't want him on, but he's here anyway. Former Chelsea man, Clive Walker's with us.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
One planet, one game, one football. The all-new One Football app is available right now for iOS, Android and Windows phones. With all the latest football news, live scores, results, highlights and more from the Premier League, Champions League and hundreds of international competitions. Download the One Football app from your app store today to follow all the Premier League matches with live text commentary and vote for your man of the match. One Football, the best app for football fans. If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah, who scores! Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Everton from the Etihad Stadium. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Sunderland and Aberdeen goalkeeper, David Priest. This is Premier League Live, and we are just waiting for the two sets of players to re-emerge from the tunnel. Would you expect any imminent team changes from either camp, David?
Not at the moment. Just looking at Everton's bench and see what options they've got going forward. I think the likes of Theo Walcott and Adam will look with their pace. They can capitalise when Everton win the ball back, and they can try and get forward quickly and take advantage of Manchester City being out of position. You've got Bernard, who's good on the ball, but he hasn't got that pace to break forward. So quite early in the second half, you possibly see that change coming about. And again with Calvert-Lewin up front, he's busting the gut. He's chasing down a lot of long balls, and he's getting a little bit of joy. He's keeping the ball up there for him. He's getting players to join in with him, but he's going to tie as the game goes on. So maybe Cenk Tosun will come in for him.
Well, you have to go back to September of 2015 for the last time that Everton came from behind to win a game when they were trailing at half-time. That's a run stretching 33 matches since a 3-2 triumph against West Bromwich Albion. In fact, they've not won any of the last 15 matches when they've conceded the first goal. Last time they did that was a 3-1 success at Swansea around about this time last year. And we've mentioned already that Manchester City, the only team in the Premier League this season yet to give away any points from a winning position. That's the enormity of the task facing Everton as the players emerge from the tunnel for this second half. The traditional Manchester City anthem ringing around a soggy Etihad Stadium. No change in personnel, as David predicted. For City, Ederson is the goalkeeper, Walker, Otamendi, Laporte and Delph in defence, Gundogan, Fernandinho, Bernardo Silva in midfield with Sane and Mahrez alongside the goal scorer Jesus up front. Everton, who changed their formation for this game. Pickford is the goalkeeper, Zuma, Keane and Mina, whose blunder led to the goal in the back three. Coleman and Digne are the wing backs. Bernard, Sigurdsson, Gomez and Richarlison in midfield with Calvert-Lewin up front. And here is Richarlison straight from the kickoff down by the left corner flag. Manchester City leading by 1-0 as we start this second half. Sigurdsson can't turn away from Walker. Everton shooting from left to right in this second half in their predominantly blue strip with the white socks. Manchester City in the sky blue jerseys, white shorts and darker blue socks, shooting from right to left. And quite a few empty seats over on the far side of the ground as the home fans delay their return for the second half. Many of them wearing Packer Max. You do get wet if you sit in the front rows at the Etihad. Andre Gomez has got a problem. He's hobbling quite badly here, the Portuguese. Referee Craig Pawson just comes over to check on his welfare. Don't forget, you can tweet us in this second half at TalkSport Live. Predict how the second half will go. Let us know where in the world you are listening. Maybe send some pictures of the weird and wonderful ways you're tuning in. And don't forget, the best way to look ahead to a Premier League weekend is by subscribing to TalkSport's Premier League Preview Show podcast. That's available every Thursday.
Just from a Manchester City's point of view, you can see that they'll want to get this game wrapped up pretty early. If they can get another early goal, then it gives them a chance to bring on Kevin De Bruyne, to bring in Sergio Aguero, to ease them back into Premier League life after being out injured.
Yeah, 2 minutes gone in the second half. Manchester City 1, Everton 0. Jesus with a goal midway through the first half. It's Manchester City attacking down the right with Walker just inside the Everton half. And now Laporte. Plays it forward for Fabian Delph. Delph looking for Jesus in the area. Best of pieces of control from Michael Keane, and in the end he's forced to run it out for a throw-in for Manchester City. Bit of activity on the touchline. Both sets of subs warming up. Good turn by Jesus away from Coleman into Sane inside the Everton area. Sane out to Fernandinho. He's going to shoot here right-footed. Charged down by Keane. And Richarlison back defending will clear it upfield for Everton. Only to Fernandinho though, and he's guided it forward for Mahrez, who expertly plucks it from the sky. Here's Gundogan now. Rolls it out to the left and Delph. Delph back in field for Fernandinho. Everton with everybody bar Dominic Calvert-Lewin back behind the ball. Here's Bernardo Silva down the right-hand side for Manchester City. He's got Walker in support. Walker back to the halfway line and Otamendi. Good discipline again from Everton. Trying to make it difficult for Manchester City to work their way through, but still City in possession with Aymeric Laporte. Forward for Sane. Gundogan over the top to Delph, who's made a good run. Read by Zuma and clear. And here is Bernard. But for me, he's just given the ball away, but too cheaply at times. Almost does it again there to Sane, but does manage to wrestle his way clear and then forward to Calvert-Lewin and not back to the goalkeeper Ederson by Otamendi.
Yeah, good play by Bernard, just wrestled away from the challenge there, got himself forward, driving forward, and that's when he needed Calvert-Lewin to make the run for him. Sometimes the striker can make the mind up for you, and he waited too long, Calvert-Lewin, for that run, and Bernard tried to put the ball in behind, but he's never going to get there. He was second favourite for that one.
Here is Kyle Walker down the right for Manchester City. He's got Jesus in the centre, opts to delay the cross, pulls it back instead for Mahrez. Mahrez again will come inside on his left foot, and then Fernandinho out to Walker. Mahrez having made the space for the fullback. Walker's going to try and circumnavigate Digne here. Cross charged down by the Frenchman. Walker still in possession down by the corner flag, and here's Mahrez up against Richarlison, back doing his defensive duty. Bernardo Silva then into Fernandinho again. They've got to go all the way back to the centre circle and Laporte, Manchester City. Must have had 90% of the ball in the first 5 minutes this second half, the champions. Here's Walker. Jesus in the middle. Trying to take on Digne, who knows he can't dive in. Good cross from Walker. Cleared by Keane. Now Sane. Sane with a cross to Jesus. And it's a second goal for Manchester City. And a second goal for Gabriel Jesus. Surely put Pep Guardiola's men back on top of the Premier League. The thumping header to make it Manchester City 2, Everton 0.
Excellent from Manchester City. It's a masterclass in patience, this. Just waiting for the opportunity to put the ball in the box, create something. In the end, Leroy Sané just lifts the ball. It's so easy. Just lifts the ball to the edge of that 6-yard box. Gabriel Jesus finds himself in between two defenders, powers the ball home, heads it past Jordan Pickford, who's helpless.
5 minutes into the second half, Gabriel Jesus uses his head to make it 2-0 to Manchester City. They're unbeaten in 18 matches when the Brazilian has found the back of the net. Well, barring something quite extraordinary by way of an early Christmas miracle, that run is going to continue.
Well, just one goal before today's game. He's got 3 now. Confidence is obviously back. But I think even Gabriel Jesus himself, he looked so surprised that he was so free in between those two defenders that he must have thought he was offside. He looked straight across to the linesman to see if he was onside or not. Obviously he was onside, and it's just a happy surprise look on his face.
6 minutes played in the second half. Manchester City 2, Everton 0. Jordan Pickford clears it upfield for Everton. Does it become damage limitation now for the Toffees?
Well, again, like I said before, it is a case of just sticking to the plan, because what happens now, if you break from that plan and you try and be a little bit more expansive, that's when they're going to open you up, and that's when there's going to be, you start looking at 3s, 4s and 5s. But like I said before, Manchester City now will just be hoping that they can get a little bit of distance between them and Everton, and then they can start easing their injured players or the fit players that have come back, like Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne, ease them back into Premier League life.
Where is a Manchester City player down injured? I think it's Aymeric Laporte who needs some treatment. Pep Guardiola in the snood, keep himself warm, is just cajoling his players. He is the ultimate perfectionist. He was quite animated after the game against Chelsea. Almost turned on the media and said, why were you saying that we were going to be the Invincibles? We never thought we were going to be invincible.
I think that it's easy for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola to turn that into a positive, but think it's a good thing, when you're in a position like Manchester City were last season, you need to be pushed, you need to be tested to progress. And I think it's the result last week was a kick up the backside for them, just to say that, well, it's not going to be as easy as what everyone else is thinking, even if they aren't.
It's been pretty straightforward so far today. Joe has tweeted in, says just waking up in Indiana, USA. Happy City are dominating so far. Jason is listening from the Philippines, hoping for a City clean sheet for his fantasy football team. Probably a few people in that boat. Laporte still receiving treatment here for a head injury. Been down for a couple of minutes. He's helped back to his feet by Edison, the goalkeeper. I think he will be okay to continue. Aymeric Laporte. That game against Chelsea, by the way, was his first defeat in 25 Premier League appearances for Manchester City. Unfamiliar feeling. Got that winning feeling back this afternoon. They lead Everton by 2 Gabriel Jesus goals to 0. A reminder, coming up next, we'll have commentary from Tottenham against Burnley at Wembley, and all the goals from the rest of the games in the Premier League involving Crystal Palace and Leicester, Huddersfield and Newcastle, Watford, Cardiff and Wolverhampton Wanderers against Bournemouth, and then 3 more games tomorrow, rounding off the weekend. 2 get underway at 1:30 UK time. Southampton against Arsenal will be our main base, along with updates from Brighton against Chelsea. And then at 4 o'clock, the game the world will be tuning in for, Liverpool against Manchester United, I should say. Here is Otamendi. City in cruise control. As Walker comes forward down the right. Could be a long second half for Everton. They tried to exploit Digne and the fact he was booked in the first half. There's a lot of the play now from Manchester City coming down the right.
Yeah, possibly. You see that there's an interplay between the triangles, not just Bernardo Silva and Riyad Mahrez now. You see that Kyle Walker's joining in a hell of a lot more now, and they're trying to get him downside, use his pace, get balls across that 6-yard box.
Manchester City have their 6th corner. Mahrez has dummied it. And he's now going to whip it into the penalty area. Diving header away by Digne, and it will be a throw-in for Manchester City midway inside the Everton half, and Everton are going to make those 2 changes that David Priest predicted at the start of this second half. Theo Walcott and Ademola Lookman are both coming on. Have you got a walkie-talkie in contact with Marco Silva?
You're just looking at the lineup, you just see that it looks like it's the only way that they're going to get anything out of this game is if when they get the ball they can hit them, use some pace on the attack and try and hit Manchester City when they're out of position. But it's just looking to try and see who they maybe to bring off of that. But I think they'll probably put Richarlison down the middle, maybe bring Bernardo off and Calvert-Lewin.
Here's Sane, creator of both Manchester City goals this afternoon, both scored by Gabriel Jesus. Laporte, lovely little layoff by Gundogan. Delph, infield for Fernandinho. Almost like a training match for the first 11 minutes this second half as far as City are concerned. Walker. Here's Laporte again, over the halfway line, floats it out to the right, and Mahrez, who chests it down, in fact he used his arm, according to the referee Pawson. Free kick for Everton, and here come the changes. Seamus Coleman is the man making way for Walcott. He's going to have to move on the captain's armband as well. It's a landmark moment for Walcott. It's his 500th career appearance. He has a good scoring record against Manchester City, 5 in his last 5 starts in the Premier League as Lookman replaces Bernard. What do you make of those changes, David Priest?
Well, it's interesting to see what will when they go to a back 4 or who they play sort of right wing back area now. It's just be interesting to see who goes out there. Looks like Kurt Zouma's gone out wide right, so maybe he's gone to a back 4.
Lookman straight away is taking a position down the left-hand side. Looks like Richarlison's been moved almost to play alongside Dominic Calvert-Lewin in this rejigged Everton side as they look to get themselves back in the match, trailing 2-0. Pickford floats the ball out to right. Walcott, having just come on, can't keep it in play, and it will be a throw-in for Manchester City. 32 home league goals for Manchester City. They were already leading the way in that statistic. In terms of the most home goals scored of any team in the top 5 major European leagues. And we've played 13 minutes in the second half. It is Manchester City 2, Everton 0. Here is Otamendi for City. Laporte now 10 yards inside his own half. Forward for Fabian Delph. Delph looking to ping the pass out to the right hand side, kept in by Mahrez, but Everton have helped it back to Pickford, the goalkeeper, and Pickford upfield. One back by Otamendi. Toe pokes the ball out for an Everton throw on halfway. Here is Richarlison trying to turn into some space just inside the City half. He's rolled it back for Digne. And Ademola Lookman has run out of touchline. It's going to be a throw for Manchester City. Everton yet really to get going in this second half, David?
No, not at all, and it's interesting to see what changes Manchester City might make in the coming sort of 5-10 minutes, because we've named the big names that are already on the bench, but Phil Foden's on there as well, and I just wonder whether there'll be another chance to give him a little bit more Premier League experience, give him a few more minutes. I know they've got the Carabao Cup quarter-final coming up on Tuesday, which he'll probably play in that, but I'd like to see him impressed interaction here.
Marco Silva looking very dejected on the touchline. He's lost each of his last 3 Premier League encounters against Manchester City by an aggregate scoreline of 12-2. At the moment it's 14-2 over 4 games to Manchester City against the Everton manager. We've played an hour here, City lead 2-0. And this man on the ball, Gabriel Jesus, has got them both. He's played it out to the right hand side, and Riyad Mahrez, who's been a constant threat. Lovely ball floated out to Leroy Sané, brings it down on the chest on the edge of the area, left corner of the box. Sané trying to help it into the danger zone. It's cleared away by Keane. It will be a throw in for Manchester City by that left corner flag. Fabian Delph flicks the ball up and prepares to take it. They do have a couple of quite useful players they could call off the bench, Manchester City, and Aguero and De Bruyne and Sterling, of course.
It's not a bad options, are they?
How much are those 3 worth? A stop-start season for Kevin De Bruyne, which makes Manchester City's results even more impressive.
It does, but as Pep Guardiola was pointing out in his press conference during the week, that it could turn out to be a real positive thing as well, because
it'll be like a new signing come January, won't it?
Of course, and when it comes to this the second half of the season, when a lot of teams are tiring, Kevin De Bruyne should be fresh. Of course, he's could be suffering from a little bit of fatigue, and that's what leads to the injuries from the World Cup. He played a lot of games last season. He was instrumental in Belgium finishing in 3rd place in the World Cup. And that's the danger for the big teams and the top 6 in the Premier League, that they're going to come back with their best player of last season fully fit and firing all cylinders.
We're into the last half an hour. Parler has tweeted at TalkSport Live, says, I see City running away with the points. Well, they are at the moment. 2-0 to the good. Everton have not really been able to lay a glove on them in this second half, to use the boxing analogy that David was talking about before the game. And once again there, Jordan Pickford played into trouble by Walcott, closed down quickly by Jesus, just about manages to get the ball clear. And here's Walker inside the centre circle for Manchester City. Gundogan with room to run into on the edge of the Everton box. Jesus back to Gundogan, goes for goal. Couldn't get it on target.
No, again, it's kind of like the luring Everton into a false sense of security. They're just passing nice and gently around, and then within 2 passes, they sit me on the edge of the box, and they're looking to get an incisive ball into the front man. Gundogan made a great run into the box, got the edge of 6 yards, but just couldn't get it torn and directed onto goal bound.
Raheem Sterling is just getting himself ready to come on for the final third here. Jordan Pickford again there looked a bit uncomfortable with the ball at his feet.
I think he was just looking for options before the ball reached his foot, and the ball just rolled underneath. No danger at all though.
Here's Fernandinho. Floats the ball forward for Sane. Sane brings it under his spell on the edge of the Everton 18-yard box. Here's Del forward. Now Fernandinho. Love to see the possession stats for the second half. Everton have barely had a kick for 18 minutes. Here's Laporte. Nonchalantly brings it forward over the halfway line, then into the feet of Fernandinho it goes, and here's Sane. Everton are stretched here. Sane with a cross into the area, trying to whip it back across the box, and it's out for a throw.
It doesn't look like these changes have made have been positive changes for Everton, that's for sure. The City seem to be getting in between the lines a lot easier now than they were before. They're getting when they were disciplined and they were behind the ball, Everton, they made sure that Everton to the Man City had to play the ball around them, go around the edges. Now they go right through the middle of them. And I think Kurt Zoom out here right back, he looks a little uncomfortable. Doesn't look like he wants to be drawn out in the wide areas when the ball goes out there. And of course what they do, even though they've made attacking changes, bringing Lookman and Walcott on, they lose that attacking intent from Coleman, giving that support down the right hand side on the outside.
Yeah, he was one of their best threats going forward in the first half, Seamus Coleman. Here's Fernandinho up towards the halfway line where Jesus flicks it forward for Bernardo Silva. Mahrez looking to take on Digne down the Manchester City right-hand side. He's got Walker overlapping. Walker into the area, trying to lay it on a plate for Jesus for his hat-trick. It was stabbed clear by Mina, and here comes Gylfi Sigurdsson. Don't think we've mentioned his name in the second half, the Icelander. Lookman, the substitute, running at Bernardo Silva into Richarlison, who turns well. Maybe a chance for Digne to get across in the area. Here he does so, and Calvert-Lewin has got Everton back in the game. Out of nowhere, really. Digne with a cross. Calvert-Lewin with a header across the keeper into the far corner. It's only his second goal in 12 matches, but it gives Everton hope. Manchester City 2, Everton 1.
Well, they might have lost the attacking intent down this right-hand side, but they still have Lucas Digne on the left-hand side. He works a great little passing interchange with Ademola Lookman, gets the ball on the left-hand side, it's on the edge of the box, lifts it in there, again similar to Gabriel Jesus' second goal. And it's a great attack from Calvert-Lewin, just flicks the ball, gets a slight glance across to Edison's left-hand side and into the back of the net.
Last touch may even have been off Fabian Delph, you know. I think it was heading for goal anyway, so it will be Calvert-Lewin's goal. Manchester City have made their change as play restarts. Raheem Sterling is on. Is it Mahrez or Sane who made way? Sane, who looks a bit frustrated, just kicked the seat in front of him as he sits down in the dugout below us. Here comes City looking to restore their 2-goal advantage. What a final 24 minutes we got now on Premier League Live. I don't think we saw this coming, David Priest.
No, we thought it was just going to be a canter to the end of the 90 minutes for Manchester City. But just about to make the point before about how Everton have become a sort of a side of a back four and a back five and a front five, and there's a lot of space in the centre of the pitch for City to exploit. But if you can get the ball up there and you've got the 5 bodies further forward, you can make it count just exactly like they've done there.
Yeah, long ball. Calvert-Lewin here in a race for pace against Laporte. Laporte watches it out for a throw. Watching a replay of the goal, it was a lovely ball in by Digne. Calvert-Lewin headed the ball against Fabian Delph. It may well go down as an own goal.
Yeah, we've just seen a great angle from it where the first initial flick from Calvert-Lewin looks like it would have been going past the post before it hit Fabian Delph.
One for the dubious goals panel, I think. Calvert-Lewin will definitely want to claim it. That was Everton's first shot on target. It goes down as a shot on target in the entire match. What do you make of the reaction of Sane when he went off?
Well, I think it's probably more of a reaction to conceding the goal rather than being substituted. Of course he wants to play 90 minutes, he wants to get himself on the score sheet. He probably thought it was a chance in these final 23 minutes to get a goal for himself, as he did in midweek with the 2 goals against Hoffenheim, but I don't think he should be too displeased with his performance though.
Yeah, a couple of assists in the bag for Leroy Sane. Raheem Sterling, the Premier League Player of the Month for November, not the worst option to have off the bench. Here's Sigurdsson. Suddenly Everton seeing a lot more of the ball in advanced areas. Manchester City just look a bit rattled having conceded that goal. Here's Digne down the left to Lookman. Lookman's going to get a cross in here. Oh, it's too close in the end to Ederson. Looked a decent ball, but it wasn't. Here's Gundogan. Jesus, the 2-goal hero for Manchester City, picks it up in the left wing position. He's got Sterling in the centre, so too Mahrez. Gundogan joining late. Here's Fernandinho bursting forward, as he loves to do, and Fernandinho gets it back from Jesus. Crosses for Sterling! Raheem Sterling surely seals the points now for Manchester City. It may well be his first touch. It's a golden touch for the man who's been in sensational form. Raheem Sterling with the header makes it Manchester City 3, Everton 1.
That's the danger when you're going for an equaliser. You're trying to open the game up a little bit. That cross that went into the box straight in Ederson's hand, he threw it to Fernandinho within another pass. They're in on goal. Little interchange of play with Fernandinho again between Gabriel Jesus and him. Clips it the ball at the 6-yard box, and it's a simple header back across to Jordan Pickford from where he's coming from. He's got no chance from there.
9 goals and 6 assists this season now. Raheem Sterling with a bullet header beyond Pickford to restore Manchester City's 2-goal lead. Punches the sky in celebration, and maybe now it is game over.
Yeah, you would think so now, especially you've got Raheem Sterling on the pitch. 1 touch, 1 goal. It's not a bad return, that is it?
You take it, wouldn't you? Talk about an inspired change from Pep Guardiola.
Don't think you'll see many headed goals from Raheem Sterling.
No. Well, it's unforgivable, really, isn't it? To allow someone of Sterling's stature to get in between 3 pretty big central defenders in Zuma, Keane and Mina, and just head the ball into the net. I'm sure Marco Silva will have something to say about that. Here is Sterling. You fear for Everton now. Sterling picking up the ball down the left-hand side. Infield for Fabian Delph. Fernandinho looking for Gundogan. Cleared away by Keane. The wind has been knocked right out of Everton South, but here they come with Richarlison into Lookman. Chance here for Richarlison, and he's put it over the bar from the edge of the area. Should have done better.
Yeah, certainly should have hit the target from there. Great play by Ademola Lookman. Like we talked about before, he makes Richarlison's mind up from. He runs forward, makes a direct run forward, gets the ball, checks back on his right foot, and then plays it to the edge of the box. Richarlison, he's got all the goal to aim at, but just lifts it high over the bar to Ederson's left.
Well, no goals in 16 games. Richarlison against the Big Six in the Premier League. Had a chance to end that record, but just thrashed at the shot really high over the crossbar.
I think you've got to give Nicolas Otamendi a little bit of credit there, because although he had a little chance of blocking that ball, he just threw himself at the ball, so it meant that Richarlison had to lift it over him so he wouldn't block it, and it made him lift it a little bit too high. So yeah, credit Otamendi.
Gundogan lets the ball drift over his head. One back by Zuma on halfway for Everton, and given away by their goal scorer Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Here's Jesus looking for a hat-trick, maybe tried to roll it into the feet of Sterling instead. It was unselfish, couldn't find his intended target.
It was the right thing. Great awareness by him. See that Sterling was coming to his left hand side, just decided just a little blind pass inside with his right foot. Good defending by Zuma.
Home fans in good voice. Manchester City leading Everton by 3 goals to 1, 2 from Jesus. Calvert-Lewin got Everton back into the game on 65, and then Raheem Sterling 4 minutes later off the bench to give the home side the champions clear. Don't you like? Kevin De Bruyne will be the latest of Pep Guardiola's benched superstars to be called upon. It is a dire day in Manchester in terms of the weather. It's been falling throughout.
It's a usual, normal day in Manchester, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like a sunny Saturday afternoon in July, this, in Manchester, isn't it? There's no raining on Manchester City's parade at the moment. They lead 3-1. They will be going back to the top of the table, at least until Liverpool play tomorrow against Manchester United, a game you can hear live, of course, here on Premier League Live. Coming up after we're finished, we'll be off to Wembley. Tottenham taking on Burnley in the company of Russell Hargreaves and Paul Mortimer. I'll get you some headline team news from that game and the rest of the 3 o'clock kickoffs in just a moment, as the managers begin to enter their team sheets up and down the country. Guardiola will have the luxury of being able to put his feet up and watch the drama from elsewhere unfold over the course of the weekend. Unless Everton can get themselves back in it here, and Theo Walcott's lifted one over from 6 yards. They have had chances since conceding that third goal.
If you look at the facts after the game's finished, you can see that Everton have had the chances. Ball's fizzed across the edge of the 6-yard box from Adam Lookman, and you can see there that when Theo Walcott approaches the ball, he's just leaning back slightly, hanging his leg out towards it. There's no sort of real intent to get over the ball, to keep the ball low. And once you start leaning back, that's where the ball's just gone in, skying over the ball, and that's exactly what happened there.
Kevin De Bruyne's injury return is at the expense of Riyad Mahrez. De Bruyne sidelined with a knee problem since November. He's been restricted to just 3 substitute appearances in the Premier League before today. What have you made of Riyad Mahrez's showing?
First half I thought he was brilliant. I said that he's been a real surprise to me this season so far, how he's become an integral part of the side. I thought it wasn't a necessity when he was brought in, but you could see that the relationship he's got with Bernardo Silva and Kyle Walker on the right hand side, there's a lot of attacking intent there, and especially with being a left footer on the right, it just opens a pitch up for him to come inside that left hand on his favourite left foot and just deliver balls into the box and fire off shots.
And that was a rash challenge by Gomez on Gundogan, and then Calvert-Lewin went flying in on Delph after the ball had gone. Bit of argy-bargy here down by the corner flag. The referee Craig Pawson is going to have to intervene. There were 1 or 2 challenges flying in just before this melee. Edison, the goalkeeper, has come a long way out to get involved. He'll be advised to get back inside his 18-yard box. The referee Craig Pawson here is going to show a yellow card. Fernandinho, the Manchester City captain, just having his say. Calvert-Lewin apologising, I think, to Delph, who has been booked. Both players have been booked, and it's much ado about nothing, really.
It was, and I don't think there really any need to get the yellow cards out, but you're right, there was a couple of meaty tackles went in there. Then it was just after Craig Pawson had blew his whistle. The ball was there to be won, and Fabian Delph, he knows exactly what he's doing, and just make sure that he goes in hard in the tackle and leaves a little bit on Calvert-Lewin, and that's where it just comes from. But there's no real sort of head-to-head or any sort of indiscipline from both players. Don't think we deserve the yellow card.
A bit of headline team news from that Tottenham-Burnley game. I can tell you Oliver Skipp, the youngster, is making his first Tottenham start. Meanwhile, Palace have changed their goalkeeper and hand a debut to the Spaniard Vicente Guaita.
Well, Oliver Skipp coming in, I did think there would be a chance for Mauricio Pochettino to make some changes, to rest some players after their exertions in midweek, because they will be tired after that game. They put a lot of effort into that game at Barcelona.
What about that change, Wayne Hennessy, just replacing the Crystal Palace goal?
Well,
I did think he was culpable, actually, for at least one of the goals they conceded last weekend.
Well, to be honest, Wayne Hennessey's been much improved this season from previous years, but as soon as Guaita came in last January, I was really surprised that he wasn't put straight into the squad. He's a good keeper, real good quality. I think it could be a long stint out for Wayne Hennessey now that he's outside.
Yeah, one for the fantasy football managers amongst you. Callum Wilson returns for Bournemouth today, but only on the bench for their game at Wolves. We'll have goals from there, and from Watford, and from Huddersfield, and indeed from Palace during full commentary of Tottenham against Burnley at Wembley. Still 12 minutes to go in this one. Manchester City 3, Everton 1. 2 from Jesus, 1 from Sterling for Manchester City. Calvert-Lewin, the goal scorer for Everton, or at least he'll be claiming the goal. The last touch was off Fabian Delph. At the moment it's been credited to the Toffee striker. Manchester City once again treating this game like a training match, just playing their way out from inside their own penalty area. Here's De Bruyne, looking for Jesus, almost managing to slide it through. Cleared by Keane. Walcott forward. Once again Calvert-Lewin full of running, he does well there, almost to hold the ball up before being sent tumbling by Laporte, and then Laporte finds Walker. And here is Fernandinho for Manchester City. Sterling right in front of his manager Pep Guardiola. Well, you made, David, with the way that Raheem Sterling handled that disgraceful abuse that he was on the receiving end of at Stamford Bridge last weekend, and that tweet that he sent out.
Yeah, well, he's just shown a great maturity. You know, all the criticism that come his way in the past, regardless of where those criticisms come from, I think people always forgetting how young he is, you know, and the fact that he was able to handle that situation with a bit of grace, a bit of a bit of maturity, and just he showed himself in a great light.
Manchester City trying to show themselves in a great light here. The ball arrowed forward towards Gabriel Jesus, looking for his hat-trick, but it carries through for Jordan Pickford, the Everton goalkeeper. 10 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Manchester City 3, Everton 1 is the score here on Premier League Live. Manchester City seemingly back to winning ways after that defeat against Chelsea, but here comes Walcott for Everton into Calvert-Lewin. There's a lot of space down the left hand side for Lookman. It wasn't the best pass into his feet, a bit behind Ademola Lookman, but he's left Bernardo Silva on his backside, and he's going to shoot here. Lookman, he's going to shoot over the bar.
A good free fly and more Lookman just to create the chance for himself, skip past a couple of tackles, get on his right foot and try and bend that round Edison, but the shot was a little bit wayward. But that's what the goal from Calvert-Lewin has brought this game to open it up a little bit. And okay, they've got the 2-goal advantage again now, but it's great to see that that they are going to try and press on, try and get back into this game, get another foothold, get back to 3-2, and then see what happens from there. But they are pressing again for this goal.
Well, they made a change, their final change. Everton, Tom Davies has come on to replace Gylfi Sigurdsson. Davies, who actually scored his first goal for Everton in that 4-0 win against Manchester City. It's his first Premier League appearance since October. David, what do you make of that latest change?
Well, I think it's a change that's probably needed, because Gylfi, he's not getting on the ball as much, and now they can get Tom Davies on. What Tom Davies brings to the Everton side is drive with the ball. He can beat the lines of press with the ball at his feet, rather than having to find him in clever little pockets and little spaces. And in the same way that Walcott and can come on and use his pace, and Lookman come and use the pace, he can do that as well. But like I said, it's more in possession of the ball that he does it.
It's Manchester City in possession at the moment, attacking away to the left hand side. They lead Everton by 1 here on Premier League Live. They're maybe looking for a fourth here. De Bruyne's cross is cleared. Everton once again camped inside their own half of the field. And Manchester City continuing to dominate possession. Well over 70% of the ball for the champions in this second half. Here is Fernandinho back to Otamendi, the Argentine. Now Laporte just comes over to the left hand side temporarily, plays it down the line, but it's picked up by Zuma. And here is Gomez for Everton, who trail 3-1. Goal for the Toffees now would set us up for a grandstand finish to the game. Manchester City at the moment very comfortable protecting the lead.
Yeah, you see Manchester City just happy just to keep the ball now, and Everton, well, they need to press a little bit high if they want to go after this game. If they want to try and get something out of this game, try and get a point, they've got to try and up the tempo a little bit more now.
Yeah, really need to start asking more questions of this Manchester City defence. It's not been a dissimilar performance to the one we saw against Bournemouth a few weeks ago. Bournemouth actually got back on level terms in that game through Callum Wilson. Manchester City went on to win comfortably in the end, but here's a chance, and it was Calvert-Lewin with a back heel, saved well down to his right-hand side by Ederson.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Calvert-Lewin that the cross come across from the right-hand side by Theo Walcott. He just tries a little Cruyff turn, just tries to back heel it, but unfortunately just takes the pace off it a little bit and gives Ederson a chance to get across and comfortably take the ball.
And here come Manchester City at the other end with Bernardo Silva taking on Digne. Finds De Bruyne inside the area. He's got Jesus crying out for the cross. Good clearance by King. Again, he was waiting for a tapping, Gabriel Jesus, for his third goal of the game. Here's De Bruyne. Back out to Bernardo Silva. All the players absolutely wringing wet from the rain. As he's played forward by Bernardo Silva to Jesus inside the area. Poked clear by Mina. Again, Everton just can't get out. Manchester City going all the way back to Ederson, their goalkeeper. What will Marco Silva have learned from his side this afternoon, David Priest?
Well, I think, like I said at half time, I think that he knows his team can be disciplined. They know they can, if they need to go to a plan B where they can just get behind the ball, they can do that. But at the same time, they have to know when they can play and when they can't play. And the errors that they made that led to that first goal is an example of that, because they did it great in the first couple of minutes, the first sort of period of about 10 minutes where they went longer, they stretched the game a little bit more, they got Calvert-Lewin possession of the ball further up the pitch, and then they allowed Manchester City just to press them on in their own third, and that said, they caused their own problems then.
5 minutes plus added time remaining. Manchester City 3, Everton 1 here on Premier League Live. Walcott with a little flick into the feet of Zouma, the makeshift right back. Too strong for Sterling, but he's had his pocket picked by Raheem Sterling. Zouma's in a bit of trouble here. In the end, he has to just usher the ball out for a throw-in. Just inside the Manchester City half, away to our right. Marco Silva still trying to encourage his side from the sidelines.
But I think that from this situation that Everton, they've decided that they have to go for it. You know, it's a flick of a coin sometimes. If you take that chance to go forward, you get that goal that gets you back in the game. But it's also that chance that you take that makes you vulnerable to what Manchester City can do to you in attack. So it's good to see the teams are starting to do that, though. Instead of just having 11 men behind the ball and just sort of trying to break them down and hit them on hit Manchester City on the counter attack. It's great to see the teams trying to come out against them and just not accepting defeat.
Good play by Walcott on the halfway line, chips it forward for Calvert-Lewin, the goal scorer. He's only the second centre forward, by the way, to score against Manchester City all season in the Premier League, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Him and Callum Wilson, the only front men who've managed to penetrate this stubborn rear guard of the champions.
Two young English strikers.
Absolutely. Wilson, a player who's been linked with the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United in recent days. Bournemouth will be loath to lose him.
It would, but from an international perspective, it would be great to see somebody, an English striker at a club like that, and hopefully you see the form that Morata's in. You'd like to think that he would get his chance when he got there as well.
Here's Richarlison driving towards the Manchester City penalty area, shoots right-footed, clips it wide.
Otamendi again, showing great defensive qualities there, just making sure he didn't dive in too much, wait till Richarlison try to pull the trigger. Stood him up. Yeah, just stood up and then just got a deflection on it, go for a corner. Great defending from Otamendi.
Yeah, it was a good block. And Everton have a corner. Is it their first corner of the game? I think it might be, you know.
They need to make it count then, don't they?
87 minutes. And finally Everton force a corner. Keane is forward from the back. Mina's a real handful from these set pieces. If Digne can get a good delivery, he does so. And Calvert-Lewin at the near post. Was there a push there? Mina goes down, helped to his feet by Ederson. He's reacted angrily. And once again here, Craig Pawson's going to have to intervene. Was he pushed in the back?
I think he felt a little bit of physical contact, but it wasn't a push per se. And I think that the fact that he screamed as he was going down, and Ederson's just tried to help him back to his feet, and
there was nothing in it.
No, nothing at all. Kyle Walker just held his ground there, and Yerry Mina just went over. Yeah, there's nothing in that as well.
He didn't need to go down. He could have tried to win the header.
Do you know what? You can see that his physical capabilities, if he tried to outmuscle Kyle Walker, he's probably got a good chance of getting the ball. You're right. And then Ederson's not doing anything wrong there. All he does is try to help him back to his feet. And then Yerry Mina, he's fortunate there because he puts his head in the face of Ederson, and a lot of referees could see that as a red card offence.
Here's Jesus for Manchester City, taking on Kurt Zouma, left corner of the area, into Sterling, couldn't get out from under his feet quickly enough, and Davies clears. Gomez now, accelerating away from De Bruyne, prodding it forward for Theo Walcott, who was fouled by Kevin De Bruyne. It will be a free kick, and it's going to be... Thought he was going for his pocket there, Craig Pawson. Thought better of it. Just a warning for De Bruyne, the second half substitute for Manchester City, and they're going to make another change here. Young Foden will come on. Get a couple more minutes under his belt in the Premier League, the 18-year-old. Just getting his final instructions from Pep Guardiola. I think they'll let Everton take the free kick first. Gomez is just going to try and stand this up on the edge of the area. Hooked forward by Zouma, but cleared by Manchester City. They've got a chance to counter with De Bruyne. That usually spells trouble, and he couldn't quite release Jesus. The idea was right, just not the execution.
Yeah, too much weight on the ball there for Gabriel Jesus to pick up. It goes straight through to Pickford. It's just it's baffling there. Gomez trying to put the ball into the box from deep from that free kick. You have to miss that first man. You've sent all your big guns up, you've sent all your central defenders up, and you don't miss that front man. It's criminal, really.
Well, De Bruyne with the ball in again, looking for Jesus. Just skips up into the arms of Pickford this time. He bowls it over the head of Sterling and out for Kurt Zouma into the last 10 seconds of normal time. Manchester City lead Everton by 3-1 here on Premier League Live. Mina brings the ball over halfway into the feet of Richarlison, who can turn and finds Calvert-Lewin. Good defending by Walker. Has to play it behind for a corner.
Yes,
4 minutes at the end of the game.
Yes, good defending there by Kyle Walker. Again, like Otamendi, just staying on his feet, not selling himself too early, getting a little bit of contact on the ball, and it goes back to Ederson, or towards Ederson's goal, but just wide, and he can't keep it in this corner.
Still Foden waits to come on. Digne, meanwhile, has placed the ball down in the apex to take the corner. Zouma and Mina again are forward. So too Michael Keane making a late run from the edge of the area. That was a poor delivery. It's a woeful delivery, in fact. And it's cleared to the halfway line by Delph. Davis back out to the left, and Lookman. Walker beats Lookman in the air, and they've got plenty of sky blue shirts forward here. Manchester City, Bernardo Silva into Sterling. He's got Jesus in space on the edge of the area, and the sweeper keeper Jordan Pickford comes sliding in outside his box to clear it for Everton.
Yeah, brilliant by Jordan Pickford. Great intervention. Almost certainly stops a goal going in there, because once that ball reaches Gabriel Jesus, he's got all the time in the world if he needed it. But John Pickford comes at his box, slides, takes the ball away from him.
Here come Everton at the other end. Lookman into the area, crosses towards Calvert-Lewin, headed away by Laporte. Davis back to Ademola Lookman, who has actually made an impact since coming on, the youngster. Here's Davis to Gomez. Suddenly Manchester City's turn to be capped on the edge of their own box. Digne's cross loops up in the air, headed away by Fernandinho, and then back towards the area by Jesus, but Manchester City have got it with De Bruyne, and again there are 5 forward against 5 Everton defenders. Gundogan out to the right hand side of Bernardo Silva, is in no real hurry to go forward, plays it back into his own half, and Kyle Walker think they've settled at 3-1.
I think so, but I'm just wondering how Phil Foden's doing. He must be getting cold still at the side of the pitch now.
Yeah, still he hasn't come on. Manchester City have had 68% of the ball in the second half to Everton's 32%. It's felt more than that at times. Gabriel Jesus is announced as the sponsors man of the match over the loud PA system. Sergio Aguero is clearly not going to come on this afternoon. And again, they try to find Jesus. They've been desperate to try and lay him on for a hat-trick, but once more skips through for Jordan Pickford. Could be bad news for Leicester in the EFL Cup, that. Aguero is going to be fully fit, having been given another Saturday off.
Yeah, possibly.
Gomez put under pressure on the edge of his own area. Plays it back for Mina. His mistake gifted Manchester City the lead in the first half, and Everton have never really recovered. Gabriel Jesus, I should say, finishing with a plonk on 22 minutes to make it 1-0. He struck early, the Brazilian, in the second half before Calvert-Lewin's header off Fabian Delph made it 2-1. But just 4 minutes later, Raheem Sterling with a header, his first touch after coming on, wrapping up the win for Manchester City.
That's been one of the disappointing things about Everton, when they got that goal back and they got themselves back in the game. It looked a little bit open. I think you commented that Manchester City looked a little bit shaky, looked a little bit unsure, and then they go and let them concede another goal to City early after that the goal they got back, and it takes the sting right out of the game again.
20 seconds of added time to go. Doesn't look like Foden is going to be called upon after all, as Gomez stroked it forward for Everton. Digne into Lookman, who was fouled by Fabian Delph. Will be a free kick deep inside the Manchester City half. One last chance for Everton to reduce the deficit before the referee blows his full-time whistle. Digne, who scored that wondrous free kick against Watford on Monday night, is stood over the ball. He's going to cross this time towards Keane. Ederson comes a long way and wins the punch, and there is the full-time whistle. It's a return to winning ways for Manchester City. Well, you always felt that Everton would need a bit of divine intervention to win here, and it was the man named Jesus who took the game away from them with 2 goals, 1 in each half. Raheem Sterling off the bench with a third after Calvert-Lewin had given the Toffees hope. Full time at the Etihad. Manchester City 3, Everton 1. That's a poor goal kick by Pickford on this occasion, and Gabriel Jesus has punished him with a blow to give Manchester City the lead. A goal out of nowhere, really, from their own goal kick. Everton have absolutely shot themselves in the foot. Cleared by Keane. Now Sane with a cross to Jesus, and it's a second goal for Manchester City, and a second goal for Gabriel Jesus to surely put Pep Guardiola's men back on top of the Premier League. Maybe a chance for Digne to get across in the area. Here he does so. Calvert-Lewin has got Everton back in the game out of nowhere, really. Digne with a cross, Calvert-Lewin with a header across the keeper into the far corner, and Fernandinho gets it back from Jesus. Crosses for Sterling. Raheem Sterling surely seals the points now for Manchester City. It may well be his first touch. It's a golden touch for the man who's been in sensational form. Yeah, that was the tally tape then from Manchester City's victory against Everton. City back on top of the Premier League, and really, David Priest, they didn't have to work overly hard for the victory.
No, and the plan here was always to be disciplined, to try and restrict Man City to any chances or minimal chances. But once Everton, the architects of their own downfall, they give the ball away cheaply in their own defensive third. They get punished for it, and from then on it's an uphill task. And even when they get back in the game with the header by Calvert-Lewin, they have to just be solid for a few moments, try and keep the ball as much as they can, and try and make sure that they give themselves a chance of getting back in the game and getting themselves a point. They didn't do that at all. It was far too easy for Manchester City, and you always felt that they had other gears to move up into Manchester City. They could have just turned it on at any time, and when they needed to, they did do that. And like I said, they punished Everton when they had the chance to do it.
Good game management as well from Pep Guardiola. His reaction to conceding that Calvert-Lewin goal, bring on Raheem Sterling, and he scores with his first touch.
Perfect management, isn't it? Of course it is. And he's not making many wrong moves at the moment. But from Marco Silva's point of view, I think he'd be disappointed actually, like I said, because apart from the mistakes and errors that they made in defence and in midfield, giving the ball away, they were pretty well disciplined. And other than that, Manchester City would have had to work far harder to create the chances that they did. And on the flip side, Everton themselves had great chances with Richarlison, with Theo Walcott in the second half. But also the disappointment comes in the final stages when they're looking to get back in the game, looking for an extra goal. Their set pieces, their delivery was really poor, not beating that near post man on 3 or 4 occasions, and that'll be something that'll be disappointing for Marco Silva.
And it's the mark of a good side, how you respond to defeat, and they've responded Manchester City in the perfect way.
They have, and it's exactly what the manager would want from them, and everything. Even though the injuries that they've succumbed to in the last few weeks, they're getting those players back. They're getting Aguero back. They're getting Kevin De Bruyne. They've been able to rest Raheem Sterling and John Stones this week, so it's fairly ominous for a lot of the teams around them now and just below them. And for Liverpool, pressure's back on them for them to perform tomorrow against Manchester United.
Yeah, big game of the weekend, live here on Premier League Live. Liverpool against Manchester United from Anfield at 4 o'clock tomorrow. My thanks to David Priest for his expert analysis on the game that we've watched to kick off this bumper weekend in the Premier League. Manchester City back to winning ways, normal service very much resumed for the champions, courtesy of a couple of goals from Gabriel Jesus in the absence of Aguero, and Raheem Sterling off the bench to seal the points in the second half. Don't forget full coverage of Tottenham against Burnley to come from Wembley, plus the goals from elsewhere. You are listening to Premier League Live.